Tonight on KVR News, Austin and UT recognize the first Indigenous Peoples Day.
UT creates a scholarship for its homeless students.
And the last homecoming queen is crowned before a historic field closes.
You're watching KVR News, your leader for live, local UT coverage.
Broadcasting live from the Texas Student Television Studios at the University of Texas. You're watching KVR News at 9, Austin's leader for live, local UT coverage. Your news starts right now.
Good evening and welcome back to KVR News from Monday, October 9th. I'm Brianna Rodriguez.
And I'm Erin Chansey. Thank you for joining us.
Today marks the first Indigenous Peoples Day in Austin after City Council's decision to rename the second Monday of October, which was previously Columbus Day. Austin's Mayor Steve Adler says he hopes that this change will influence other cities to also take action. Austin is advocating for the increased teaching of Indigenous peoples' history in Austin schools. This breakthrough coincides with UT Austin's first Indigenous Peoples Week, where many on-campus activities will take place.
University of Texas students now have the opportunity to take advantage of a new scholarship created to support homeless undergraduates. The scholarship of $1,000 was created to help students who have no support from their parents or family to attend the university. According to Program Director of the Texas Homeless Education Office, Patrick Lopez, 1 in 50 college students in Texas public schools are homeless.
This summer, UT will be starting its new one-year master program called Master of Science in Information Technology and Management. The university expects this program to help undergraduates learn at an earlier stage for those in software engineering paths, IT product management, or other technical-related positions. The program runs through a 10-month period with 36 credit hours, and its inauguration will be held in July of 2018.
A suspect is behind bars tonight after hitting a cyclist and then leaving the scene. On Friday night, Zachary Davis told police he tried to call a taxi cab before getting into his car. Davis stated that he would have never been driving had it not been for ACL. When he tried to call a cab, he was told by the company that the wait time would be over 2 hours because of the music festival. Police say Davis hit a cyclist in the downtown area. An eyewitness relayed Davis's license plate number to police, where they later found him at his household. The cyclist is currently being treated at the Dell Medical Center.
Texas state legislator wants to build a public pedestrian plaza from the Blanton Museum of Art to the Capitol. Several Austin businesses currently operate in the area. Austin business owners and city leaders do not yet support the project, calling it an overreach by the state. Austin State Senator Kirk Watson and Representative Donna Howard urged the city to support the plan. In order for this state-funded project to break ground, several Austin businesses will have to vacate 4 downtown blocks.
The shooting that left 59 dead in Las Vegas over a week ago has authorities left with many unanswered questions. Many discrepancies have been brought to light, such as the possibility of a second shooter. However, it is now confirmed that gunman Stephen Paddock acted alone. The Las Vegas police found a chilling note written by Paddock in his hotel room at Mandalay Bay, showing his calculations on how to shoot and kill as many people as possible. Officer Dave Newton of the Las Vegas Police Department stated that they found the note on Paddock's nightstand, where he had written down the distance and elevation he was from the crowd at the music festival, so Paddock would know where to shoot his targets from. However, police have still not determined a motive. According to experts in profiling mass shooters, although the motive may not bring justice, given Paddock committed suicide after firing the concert goers, it is still important to prevent future attacks of this kind. Yesterday, a week after this tragic event, Las Vegas bright lights dimmed in tribute to the victims.
National anthem protests remain a hot topic around the country, with the movement making its way down to local Texas high schools. Recently, a student in Cy-Fair ISD was suspended for refusing to stand during the Pledge of Allegiance. Winfern High School senior India Landry was in the principal's office when the pledge played on the intercom. When the principal told her to stand, Landry refused, leading to the principal telling Landry, quote, "You're kicked out of here." Landry stated that she has not stood for the Pledge of Allegiance for years as a silent political protest, with no teacher ever enforcing disciplinary measures for her actions. In response, a Houston civil rights attorney is suing the Cy-Fair School District on behalf of the student. More updates are soon to come as the case continues.
U.S. Marshals are still searching for a Central Texas man wanted for the continuous sexual abuse of a child. Officials say the 35-year-old man, Thomas Gutierrez, known to some as Thomas Hernandez, is accused of targeting single mothers to prey on their children. Investigators say he does trade jobs and has family in the Austin area. If you have any information, you are asked to call the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force tip line at 512-800-4213.
Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein has proposed a ban on bump stocks for semi-automatic rifles. Bump stocks are attachments that allow the rifles to fire faster so that the gun operates more like an automatic firearm. Feinstein appeared on Face the Nation Sunday night, saying both Republicans and Democrats have expressed interest in the ban as well.
National studies show drug overdoses are on the rise. According to the New York Times, deaths in 2016 reached almost 50,000, making this the largest annual jump ever recorded in the United States. Drug overdoses are now the leading cause of death among Americans under the age of 50. The Food and Drug Administration has made requests to take certain opioids off the market, but many argue that taking away the drugs is not the solution. The FDA has recently come up with a number of ways to deter the abuse by changing how the drug works. This can be done by introducing an opioid antagonist into the formula, which would prevent people from experiencing the high that leads to addiction.
A historic Friday night at Taylor High School marks the last homecoming game played at the field that was purchased more than 100 years ago. Before the big move to a new stadium, the school took time to honor its first homecoming queen, Nancy Payne, as she was crowned the 2017 queen on the same field as earlier in her life. Payne was crowned Taylor's first homecoming queen 64 years ago and says high school was an important time of her life. What a wonderful story that is.
Absolutely. It's just adorable, Brianna.
We'll be right back with more news. Stay tuned.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News tip line, 475-8181.
Football players in the NFL are continuing controversial silent protests. A dozen players kneeled during the national anthem at a football game between the Indianapolis Colts and San Francisco 49ers. Yesterday, Vice President Mike Pence, who attended, left after the Star-Spangled Banner ended. The vice president tweeted later, saying, quote, "I left today's Colts game because President Trump and I will not dignify any event that disrespects our soldiers, our flag, or our national anthem." The president also let his Twitter followers know that he and Pence had planned for the vice president to walk out if a protest took place. Trump tweeted, quote, "The trip by VP Pence was long planned. He is receiving great praise for leaving the game after the players showed such disrespect for our country."
An Austin man faces multiple felonies after allegedly flying to Florida to meet and have sex with a 9-year-old girl. 64-year-old Mark Andrew Nichols exchanged multiple texts and emails with a detective posing as a girl and her parents for several weeks before his arrest. The arrest affidavit states Nichols described the sexual acts he planned to perform with the intended victim. Police say Nichols set up a meeting with the parents in Orlando and was arrested when he arrived at the meeting location.
A 3-year-old girl from Richardson, Texas is still missing after an Amber Alert was lifted earlier today because police could not follow any solid leads. The alert was first issued Saturday after she was allegedly told by her father to stand outside at 3 a.m. as punishment for not drinking her milk. Her father says when he returned 15 minutes later, the girl was missing. The girl's father was arrested Saturday and charged with abandoning and endangering a child. She was last seen wearing a pink top, black pajama bottoms, and pink flip-flops.
There's some good news coming for commuters coming from far distances to the UT campus. MoPac's northbound express lane is now open as of early morning Saturday after 5 years and several delays. Tolls will be collected through Texas Tag, Toll Tag, or Easy Tag. However, drivers who do not have these can still use the lane. The southbound express lane is scheduled to open fully on October 27th.
AOL is shutting down its long-running instant messenger service, AIM. After acknowledging that people now communicate in new ways online, AIM was one of the first instant messengers and was widely used through the 90s and 2000s. But with the proliferation of smartphones, AIM could not keep up with the text messaging and other social apps. AIM will shut down once and for all on December 15th.
Dove Soap Company is facing backlash after releasing a Facebook ad this weekend which some consumers say is racist. The ad features 3 women, each removing their shirts to reveal another. Many consumers reacted angrily to the image of a black woman removing her brown shirt, revealing a white woman in a light shirt underneath. Consumers claim that the ad evokes a long-running racist trope in soap advertising, which used to feature a black person being cleansed into whiteness. Dove has since removed the ad and issued an apology on Twitter and Facebook saying, quote, "An image we recently posted on Facebook missed the mark in representing women of color. Thoughtfully, we deeply regret the offense it caused."
A woman caught driving under the influence managed to hide a loaded gun in her bra while being held within Travis County Jail. The police claim that the weapon was missing during the pat-down. As the woman was processed for central booking, a female corrections officer patted her down a second time and found the gun. This is the second case in which Austin police have missed a loaded gun during a full-body search. This case is now under investigation as APD begin to heavily stress the appropriate technique of searching subjects and the danger of missing a weapon.
Employers may now have more leeway to withhold birth control coverage on religious grounds. According to new guidelines issued by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the new rules undermine the controversial Obamacare mandate that requires birth control to be covered with no copay as a preventative service. The 2 new rules say those with sincerely held religious beliefs don't have to provide contraceptives, and the rule extends the same provisions to organizations and small businesses that object to giving birth control on the basis of moral conviction or not based on religious beliefs.
The recreational selling of marijuana is going into effect for 3 more states as early as January 2018. California, Massachusetts, and Maine will now join the 5 current states that already sell marijuana. The retail market for marijuana will see a huge boost as California has a massive population and economy. New Frontier data estimates California could grow nationwide sales to $24.1 billion by 2025. Other states will still need to go over state regulations, but could start selling by next summer.
This year's harvest moon rose for the first time in 8 years for the world to see. A harvest moon is the first full moon after the fall equinox and can happen between September 7th and October 8th. The harvest moon was celebrated so much this year because it usually rises in September. According to a NASA specialist, the chance of the harvest moon rising in October is 1 in 4, and the next one will occur in 2020.
Hurricane Nate brought flooding and power outages along the U.S. Gulf Coast, before rapidly weakening into a tropical storm this Sunday. As a Category 1 hurricane, Nate first made landfall in Louisiana late Saturday night. Hours later, it made its second landfall in Mississippi, as the first hurricane to make contact with the state since Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Nate then downgraded to a tropical depression late Sunday morning as it continued to push northward. President Donald Trump declared a state of emergency for Alabama and Florida, which would allow the states to have access to federal assistance in the aftermath of the hurricane.
The amount of hurricanes and the amount of destruction it has caused is really I'm just completely in shock.
Absolutely. I'm blown away, and I really truly hope that this hurricane season comes to a close as soon as possible. But hopefully we can, have some better weather here locally.
Yes, I'm hoping there's a cold front coming. All right, well, let's see what Chris has for us in the Weather Center. Chris, give us some good news.
Thank you, Brianna and Aaron. Stay with us, and I will tell you the weather that Austin can expect this week. Those of you walking to class, be glad. It's going to be a cool one. We'll be right back.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News tip line, 475-8181.
This week will start and end warm with occasional chances of rain, but by midweek we will feel cooler temperatures. We're excited here at KVR for the weather to finally start feeling like fall has arrived. Tonight will be cool with a 40% chance of thunderstorms and a low of 63. So if you leave your dorm after dinner, bring a light jacket and an umbrella. Tuesday we'll see some cooling. It'll be a windy day, mostly cloudy with a high of 75, and Tuesday night's low will be 57. Wednesday, we'll see the clouds begin to part and blow away with partly sunny skies and a high reaching almost 80 degrees. Later in the week, we'll see the highs creep back up to the mid-80s with a 20% chance of rain again on the weekend. Overall, the week starts and ends warm with a chance of rain and cools off in the middle. We'll see some chilly lows, so keep a light jacket handy in the evenings. Live from the Weather Center, I'm Christopher De Los Santos.
Thanks, Chris. We'll be right back after the break with College Press Box's Sean Mapes.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Hi, thanks for joining us. I'm Sean Mapes from College Press Box. Let's see some highlights. All right, so we're looking live at DKR right now. Here we're picking up in the second quarter. Jesse Ertz finds Dalton Scholl for a touchdown. Kansas State goes up in early. Here's a little throwback special. Sam Ehlinger all the way. Chris Warren, he's going to find his way into the end zone. And Kyle Porter is going to get a touchdown right here. Texas up 4 at halftime. Then we got backup quarterback Alex Delton for Kansas State, finds the end zone. He's going to tie it up right there, 24-24. Here's Sam Ehlinger in the fourth quarter, runs, gets out of bounds, setting up a game-winning kick. The kick is up and no good. We're going to overtime. In overtime, we got Sam Ehlinger that delivers a strike to Gerard Hurd right there. That's on the first play, but Kansas State responds with a touchdown of their own. That's Delton again. He's a runner. And Kansas State gets the ball back in overtime. Kick, doink, off the upright. Now Texas just needs to score to win it. Chris Warren gets the ball, and that's some big boy football right there. Finds his way into the end zone. That's a touchdown. Let's go crazy, Texas. Texas 3-2 on the year, 2-0 in conference play.
Okay, Sean, the suspense is driving me crazy. Coming off the big weekend, what can Texas fans expect going into the OU game on Saturday?
Well, it's going to be a game of two different teams going in opposite directions. Oklahoma lost a close one at home against Iowa State on Saturday as 31-point home favorites. Texas, obviously, undefeated in conference so far. Things are looking a little bit better. Now, in the Red River Shootout, it's important to remember that a lot of times the underdog comes up to ruin the rival season. You saw this just a couple years ago when Texas was the only loss Oklahoma had. Now, Texas is going to be operating in that form heading into Dallas because they opened up as 7.5-point underdogs on Monday. Now, Texas fans should be encouraged by the way the offense has played against Kansas State this season. The defense has really carried the load of this team. So it's nice to see Sam Ehlinger able to ignite the offense, accounting for 500 yards by himself on Saturday. So Texas really looking its best in the season, going into the biggest game of the season.
All right, thank you so much for being with us, Sean. Let's head over to Mercedes to see what's new in Hollywood.
Thanks, Brianna. Learn why Foster the People is choosing not to include a song during the ACL set, why Nelly was arrested, and the tragic news about comedian Ralphie May. We'll be right back.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Welcome back to KVR News. If you're going to Austin city limits to hear Foster the People, you might be surprised to not hear their famous song, Pumped Up Kicks. The band's frontman, Mark Foster, said even though the song is about nonviolence, he does not want the lyrics to be misinterpreted in the light of the mass shooting in Las Vegas last weekend. Instead of the 2010 hit, Foster the People will sing a cover of John Lennon's song, Love. Comedian Ralphie May died on Friday morning from cardiac arrest. May performed a show in Las Vegas the night before, and his body was found the next morning in his private residence in Vegas. He had been recovering from pneumonia a few weeks prior to his show on Thursday. May was known to use his obesity for laughs in his stand-up routine. He is survived by his wife, Lena Turner, and their 2 children. He was 45. Rapper Nelly's under fire after a woman came forward of accusing him of rape. TMZ reports that Nelly's alleged victim says that the two met at a club in Washington State on Friday night, where they then went back to their tour bus. He forced her to have sex with him. The woman says she said no. Sorry. After the incident, the rapper tried to offer the woman money, which she declined. This past weekend, actress Gillian Anderson prepared for an X-Files Season 11 at the New York Comic Con. Ms. Anderson took the stage with producer Chris Carter and fellow stars David Duchovny and Mitch Pileggi. Ms. Anderson returned for Season 10 in 2016 because she felt like it wasn't over. Also says, it didn't feel like we necessarily delivered everything the fans were expecting of us last time, when asked about returning for a possible 12th season. Ms. Anderson said, I think this will be it for me. Live from Entertainment Center, I'm Mercedes Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mercedes, and thank you so much for tuning in.
Make sure to follow us for news updates throughout the week. You can follow us on Twitter at KVR News and like us on Facebook. I'm Brianna Rodriguez.
And I'm Erin Chansey, and we just want to give a quick shout out to Brianna. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Stay tuned for College Press Box up next on Texas Student Television. Have a great week.